20% of businesses fail within 1 year. 30% end up failing by the end of the second year. 50% fail by the end of the 5th year. And 70% of businesses fail by the end of the decade. Those numbers are scary, but they don't have to be your reality. The survival of your business should be your main priority. And that in itself involves a lot of work. Not just on the operational side, but also on the business funding side. That's why we're doing a tour through the offices of National Business Capital to show you that you're not alone, because we are bringing the loan experts straight to you. For those who don't know who they are, National Business Capital help businesses and entrepreneurs secure quick and fair financing to save time and cultivate sustainable growth. They work with over 75 lenders, increasing your options when it comes to funding for your business. Hey, Joe.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing great. How about you?
Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
You too. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, my pleasure.
As you all see, we're here at National Business Capital with the founder, Joe. Welcome to our channel today.
Awesome. Welcome to National Business Capital headquarters.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting us. So we're here to give everyone a tour of what really happens behind the scene from the moment they log into your website, put in their information, and submit their application. So can you please walk us through the entire process as to what gets involved and the type of documentation that we'll need to, get their loans approved?
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, a lot of stuff. We make it simple and fast, but there's a lot of stuff that actually happens behind the scenes, which will be really cool for you guys to see, and excited to show you what goes on here behind your application and getting approved for financing.
Sounds great. So awesome. Whenever you're ready, we'll follow you.
So if you call into us, it actually all starts right up front here with Jessica. And you'll be, speaking to her on the phone, and then she'll get you over to the right department. But if you fill out an application online, or once you get started with us, it'll start with our processing team, and I'll take you guys, this way. So basically, what happens is you'll apply. We have a very simple digital application online. Mm-hmm. It'll take you 1 to 2 minutes to fill out. It's really easy. And then you'll securely upload your financial docs. Usually that consists of your bank statements for your business. And if you're looking for anything over $250,000, we'll usually need your last year's tax return and then some of your financial statements.
Okay.
Like profit, loss, and balance sheet. All that stuff will get securely uploaded. And then really it starts with this team right here. This is our processing team. This is processing, operations, and our marketing teams. But basically once you submit that application, the processing team, along with some really cool technology, helps speed all that stuff up. Mm-hmm. And then our processing team here interacts with all of our different lenders. I think you know this, but there's 75 lenders that are on our platform. Mm-hmm. So you can apply in one place. We don't submit you to 75 lenders. That's very important to understand. Mm-hmm. But we'll match you to the right 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 different lenders. So when you apply that application, everything goes to the processing team. It'll also go, you'll get connected with one of our business financing advisors. So we'll get to that department next. But basically that financing advisor will have a quick phone call with you, understand what you're looking for, what is it that you're looking to get accomplished. And then the processing team will help support moving all that information through and all the communications that come back and forth between our lenders. So sometimes lenders will ask additional things, additional questions.
Right.
And the processing team really works with our business financing advisors as a team to help really move your application through the process.
So they both get connected and they work simultaneously at the time of communicating with the applicants, right? So
correct.
It's a combination of open communication with the applicant and then understanding their needs. And then you take that information and you work with the processing team and finding that right ideal lender to work with them. So that's how you make it efficient, as opposed to just shooting it out to a bunch of different lenders who may or may not serve their needs.
Yeah, we don't want to just shoot it out to anywhere. We're using technology to help review the application and move the application through the process, but we're also manually, like an actual smart human here, is looking at your application, also having a conversation with you to understand what is it that you're really looking for. Because if you want to finance equipment or buy equipment, you can use an equipment lender.
Right.
If you want to buy a business, we can use an SBA loan. Or if you want some longer term working capital. If you want a line of credit, then that's a line of credit lender.
Right.
And then there's term loan lenders, and there's a lot of different lenders. So through that conversation with the business financing advisor and then with the processing team, they really work as a team together to help get that application through and really make it as efficient as possible.
Yeah, so you're using the best of both worlds from what I'm getting here. You're leveraging technology to expedite things, but then you're providing a human component to give that personalized review of what each of the business needs, because we know all of you guys are different out there. Every business has different needs.
That's right. Everyone's got different needs. Everyone has different credit profiles. Everyone's doing different sales. Everyone's looking for financing for a different reason. So,
and that's the reason why whatever Joe is sharing today, those are typically general guidelines, but the best way to truly understand what your business needs are is by submitting an application and then having a member of National Business Capital reach out to you to narrow down to the specifics of what your business is looking for, correct?
100%. And I think it's important to understand because, sometimes people apply and they just don't want to talk to anybody. But when you're applying for business financing, you want to communicate with us. It's very, very important because the more that we understand about you and your business and what your need is, the better we can match you to the right lending partner. That's super, super important. And also we want to hear your story. Like, what's going on in your business? What are you looking to accomplish? And sometimes, when you're growing your business, there's some challenges. So if we understand the challenges, we can help communicate that to underwriting and the underwriters. And by doing that, it actually helps us get bigger approvals or more longer term approvals and a number of different things. So the more information you give us, the better it actually is. So you want to talk with us.
Definitely.
Like it's kind of like the simple saying, like, help us help you. So definitely have that conversation with us. And all we want to do is help and get you the right, deal and the best deal and whatever it is that you're looking for to grow your business.
Yeah, and communication is key to make that happen.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's the next step over here?
If you want to see too, this is our growth wall.
I love it.
We're all about growing here.
Yeah.
And it's actually real live moss and it's actually growing.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, some cool stuff.
I love plants. So.
Yeah, so come on this way.
Nice setting you got over there.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is our All-Star wall. We're all about, at National we have All-Stars, and what's really cool is if you break a record, you get your name on the bat and it goes in the wall, and then you knock the last person's bat off the wall and they get to keep their bat. And then every month, the top winners in each department, the leaders in each department, gets their name on a baseball with their stats, which is really cool. We're all about having fun, and we try and make it like a friendly competition.
Yeah. It all sounds great.
Yeah, and it's all like, all these people that are breaking records and doing things are also helping secure capital for business owners, and helping business owners grow. So it's pretty amazing what we get to do.
And
every
they're
day.
getting recognition here as well for what they do.
Yeah, 100%.
It's amazing.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so we have a number of different teams here, but the main thing is when you apply, just because we started on that, so you apply, your application comes in, your financing docs come in.
Right.
And the processing team, who we just saw, will help process and move that along very quickly. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you'll get on a phone call with one of our business financing advisors. So there's a few different teams here that sit out here. And when we reach out to you, you'll be having a conversation with someone here, on the floor. Those business financing advisors will have that conversation with you, understand what it is you're looking to get accomplished, review like your application with you, review your financing docs that you sent in, your bank statements, your financials, really get a whole snapshot of your business. And then they'll have a conversation with you like, hey, what are you looking to get accomplished? What is it that you're looking to do? What do you need money for, really, right? We want to understand the need. And then based on whatever that need is, we'll make some recommendations on different type of lending products. So as an example, maybe a term loan, or if you're buying and selling inventory constantly, maybe a line of credit. Again, if you're buying equipment, then an equipment lender. And we'll talk to you about what those terms will look like, the costs, what we think you can initially get approved for, to make sure that we're in the right areas.
I see.
And then, once we go through that conversation and we both agree that there's a mutual fit here, and that we're in the right areas and everything makes sense, and then we'll move to get you submitted into underwriting.
Now, I have a question regarding the product, right? Have you ever gotten an instance in where a business reaches out to you guys and say, well, I think I need equipment financing and an SBA and like a bunch of different loans all together. Can you get me approved for all of them?
Sure.
Is that a reasonable expectations, or
It
do
is.
you try to talk them out into getting one
sometimes,
specific?
sometimes people will say, I need a line of credit. Okay, great. Like, what do you need a line of credit for? And they'll say, there's this great piece of equipment that I want to buy.
Okay.
And we'll say, well, you don't want to use a line of credit for that. Let's use an equipment lender for that, because we can finance that over 5 years. The rates are better. There's some cool tax advantages that you can take advantage of. So we'll talk about things like that. So sometimes people think they want this one product because they see it on the website, or they just, that's what they think that they need. And then once we find out what their need is, we'll make recommendations about, whatever financing product we think is fit. Now, if they're like, hey, I want this and that's what I want, and okay, we'll give you whatever it is that you want, but we're here to kind of help and explain things. There's 75 lenders on our platform.
Right.
All of those lenders have different lending products. Like I mentioned, we do lines of credit, term loans, SBA loans, equipment loans, inventory, account receivable financing, asset-based loans. So there's like all these different lending products. And it can be very confusing, and those lenders are constantly changing their guidelines.
Right.
And right now in this market that we're in, rates are changing, guidelines are changing, lenders are saying, yep, we don't want to do this industry, we only want to do these industries. So these things are changing constantly. It's not about getting approved, it's about getting the right approval. And we process thousands of applications per month for business financing. So because of how much we're processing every month, and we're funding a few hundred transactions every month, we can see in real time which lenders are doing what.
Right.
So that's really important as an owner, because when you come to us, we know exactly where to place you and get you matched and paired up with the right lender. It's almost invaluable. We're really like a time-saving machine, and what I mean by that is
time is money.
You can apply in one place, and we go and like our systems, our CRM system that helps process your application is connected via API. So that means our system's connected to our lenders' underwriting systems.
Right.
So when we have that conversation with the sales team, the processing team, by a click of a button, we can submit you to 3 or 5 lenders in an instance, like that quickly. And then those lenders are able to underwrite it fast because we gave them all the info we needed right to the right place. And then they spit us back approval in sometimes minutes and hours. I think we could say like APIs and even just the tech that we built out, it's all to save time and to move fast. And the problem is like a lot of banks and a lot of even other lenders don't necessarily have a ton of tech, right? So when you go to your bank, it's so slow moving.
Yeah.
You have to wait 90 days
Definitely,
because it's still so manual and old school. A lot of the banks haven't caught up with the times.
Right.
So when you're processing thousands of applications, you have to monthly, you have to have that tech really built out. So it gives us the ability to move your application through the process very quickly. And then the APIs just take all that information that we've compiled into our system from your app and to push it with a click of a button right into lenders' underwriting systems, which helps them make a very fast decision so they don't have to manually look through all of your stuff. So we can literally get 5 approvals in like minutes, hours, 24 hours. It's very, very fast.
It's very efficient.
Because of the technology and getting you to the right place. If you were just an owner and you went and applied from lender to lender to lender, every time would be a new application, every time would be a different set of documentation. So it can be very time consuming.
Plus all the different credit pulls that you'll be getting in your profile.
Yeah, so we do a soft credit pull, which is a great point. We do a soft credit pull so it doesn't affect your credit. And a lot of the lending partners that we work with, almost all of them, not all, but almost all of them, also do a soft pull. So it doesn't affect your credit score. And if we are going to work with a lender that has to do a hard pull, we'll let you know before that happens. And that's really key, because not everyone does that. And some other folks will just submit you everywhere and you get all these hard pulls. We don't want to mess up your credit. We really respect that, and that's super important. And a really cool thing that our team just put together and it'll be rolled out on our new website soon, is we did this analysis. We've funded over $2 billion in transactions to business owners all across the country in all industries. We've done over 27,000 transactions since we got started in 2007. We basically estimated that we've saved business owners 52 million hours by working with us.
Together.
Which is just like,
especially,
it's just wild.
When you're in business, it's like you want to maximize every minute, every hour of your time.
Yes.
And if you can delegate it to someone who knows what they're doing and help you save time and get that liquidity that you're looking for, that's just priceless.
That's exactly right. And you think about this, like you can do your own taxes, but you use an accountant, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same, like we're advisors when it comes to business lending, to business financing, and people, utilize us to save themselves time and to make sure that they get the right deal. Just like you use an accountant to make sure that you file your taxes the right way and get the best out of your, return or, write-offs or whatever it is on your return.
Definitely. So just to quickly recap, because you share a lot of knowledge bombs here.
I like knowledge bombs.
We do have different business owners from all kinds of different backgrounds, level of experiences. Yeah, you could go to your traditional lender because you have a relationship built up with them and you can apply for certain product, but you will only get limited to one product in specific, versus when you come to a service like National Business Capital, where they work with 75 plus lenders.
Yep.
They do this on a daily basis. You do this in and out. You've done this for years, so
15 years.
You have more experience as to understanding what is specifically each business needs and getting them the right product, not just the one that they believe it's right for them, but you also present them with different solutions, like the example you just provided us with the equipment financing versus the line of credit. And that's, at the bottom line, that's really what matters, getting you the right product so you're not all over the place. Because at the end of the day, since you already mentioned the accountant, that stuff has to get funneled through the accounnt as well. So you want to get it done right from the beginning.
That's exactly right. And it's really important to get set up with the right lender because, you work with our business financing advisors, but once you get funded, we also have a relationship team here that'll work with you after the funding.
Within this section as well?
So with this group here. So, once you get funded, we'll work with you and stick with you, throughout your business journey. And if you need funding in the future, we'll help you with that. So you have a place to come back to. So we're not just about the first funding, we're about staying with you as you grow your business. And as you need capital, you can come back to us and we're here to help you. And that's really, key because, if you're growing, you're going to need capital.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people don't realize that, like, the faster you're growing, the more capital you most likely will need. And there's really two ways to do that. You sell equity in your company or you take on some debt. The third way is you put your own money in if you have it, right? So, it's like three options. Use your own money, sell some equity or take on some debt.
I like the debt part because it's tax deductible, right?
Yeah, it is. And you don't have to sell your business, right?
Yeah.
It's really, it's important. And there's a time and a place for all of those things, right? Like there's a time where you might want to sell some equity.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't have to, and you need a small dollar amount, 100,000, 250,000, $500,000, million, and you have a business that's cash flowing, and you don't need to sell equity, then why would you sell equity?
Agree.
Unless it was
100%.
really strategic. Yeah. Let's take a stroll this way. Come on down.
So as we're walking down, I have another question for you, Joe, regarding the different type of businesses. As you know, we've heard a lot about the news of certain businesses that are considered more risky than the others. Are there any particular guidelines or any type of business that needs to work a little bit harder in order to secure funding? And if so, what are some of the general requirements you think they might need?
Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting question. It's hard to give like a specific answer. And because things are always changing constantly in business lending. And really in any type of lending, right? Because the economy is always changing. I think there's certain industries that go through challenges, right? Like right now, transportation, we do a lot of transportation, but certain transportation companies, a lot of the smaller ones, are having a tough time, working with some of the bigger companies that they deliver at, some of the big brand names that we would all know. Some of the bigger transportation companies are really dominating that space, where the little guy's having a challenge and maybe not getting the best rate to deliver things. So there's been a lot of like ups and downs in the transportation space. Any new like high risk industries that are around like Bitcoin or things like that, I mean, it's kind of like, no one really wants to look at that stuff. It's just too new. It's too high risk. And let's come this way. I think what really matters is all lenders look at different things. So some lenders have requirements where you have to have a 680 credit score or higher.
Right.
Some are 700 or higher. Some are 600 or higher, right? Every lender's got their different requirements, and those requirements change pretty often.
Right.
What I think is really important in business lending, it's a combination. Like, you want to have your personal credit, like you always want to have your personal credit good, because you need that personally and for your business. It's always gets looked at in everything today, right? Regardless of what anybody says, people look at it. Now, for us, it's not the like only thing that we use to make a decision.
Right.
What's really important is your cash flow. So where you've got like money's coming in, you're keeping some money in your business bank account, you have your financial statements together, profit, loss, and balance sheet. We don't really need financials up to about $250,000. We can just look at your bank statements. But what's going to be really important is that you're, keeping as much money as you can consistently in your business to show that you know how to manage your cash flow.
Right. When you're not just throwing it out left and right.
Yeah.
Irresponsible.
And some people are great at managing cash flow and some are not. And sometimes it's an easier thing than said than done, right? Like everyone wants to manage their cash flow well, but sometimes business, like things happen in business. So we get that, but keeping money in your bank account is really important. Sometimes we'll see certain businesses go negative in their business bank account. And lenders get very concerned with that, that, hey, can this person manage their cash flow? Because if we're about to give them, some financing, we're going to collect money back, are they going to have a challenge with making those payments? So that's really, really key. It's not an easy thing to do, in the beginning it's very hard, but that's why in the beginning it might make sense even to maybe sell a little equity or do a friends and family round, just so you can keep some money in your company.
Right. Again, those are options. Like, it's not something that
it's not something you have to do. It's a suggestion.
But yeah, it's good to have that in the in the back
of your mind. And I think too, it's always going to be a struggle if you can't keep some money in the bank account.
Right.
And obviously, doing lending is going to help with that cash flow, but lenders really, really focus on that.
Now, would you say there's a direct correlation in the amount of cash they have in reserves with the amount that get approved for in the loan application?
It's definitely helpful. It's not our only thing that we look at. Like, we do, we have some clients that, have a lot of money coming in.
I see.
But, what they're keeping on hand because they're growing so fast is very thin. But we can see the growth, we can see the opportunity.
As long as they see money coming in.
Correct.
That's another factor.
And then also too, like sometimes people, when people are looking to borrow money because they're like, hey, I can take on this new client or customer, which would lead to, another $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month in sales, we'll look at all those different factors. I think what's important is that you be prepared to have these conversations, when you get on the phone with us, and then sometimes our underwriters are going to want to get on the phone with you.
Right.
And they're all going to want to understand, like, how are you using money to grow and better your business? So being prepared to answer those questions, having your bank statements together, being ready to submit those. If we need to look at more, don't be frustrated. Just give them, like, when we're asking for more documentation, that's actually a good thing. A lot of owners will get frustrated with that. Oh, you're asking me for more stuff. Actually, if we're asking you for more things, it means that we're interested and we're trying to get a really good deal together for you. If we're not asking you, then usually we wind up declining you, right?
Yeah.
So it's either decline and we don't ask you for anything, or we're like, hey, we're trying to make this work and we need some more docs to prove our case to our underwriters.
Definitely.
So if we're asking you for more things, it's a good thing, like, get them as quickly as possible.
And one thing that I always like to share on the channel is that whenever you're applying for, let's say, even if it's a mortgage or a business loan, always keep your paperwork handy in folders, right? Always keep copies of your bank statements, copies of your tax return up to the last 2 years at least. Even if you don't need it, you never know when the underwriter is going to come back and say, hey, I need this, and you might be in the middle of something, but they're giving you only 24 hours to submit those, right?
And when we need your second year tax return, and if you don't have it, it's always when your accountant's away on vacation, right? So so have all that stuff on hand, have it saved in a folder. It's super important stuff. You should have it anyways. It's very important.
Yeah.
And then if you know you're going to look for over $250,000,
Then that's a
make sure
must.
your financials are up to date, like your profit, loss, and balance sheet. We see a lot of times owners, especially that are up and coming, growing new, they won't have their financials up to date, and that's super important.
It's like typically what's left behind until December 31st-ish, right?
Yeah,
Where everyone's running around trying to get everything in before the year closes. It's difficult, definitely, especially if you're the business owner who's wearing many hats in the company. But I like to set myself at least a couple of reminders throughout the year, quarterly if possible, if not at least every 6 months or so, just so you know where you're standing in your financials, because that's the
100%.
very first thing the lenders will ask, like, how are you doing with your numbers?
And you
if
want to
you're-
know your numbers,
Yeah,
right?
and if you're stumbling, it's like, it's really not a good look on you or your business.
A lot of times business owners get pulverized by financials because they don't really understand how to read them. But you want to learn how to read, your profit and loss is pretty easy. It's profit, expenses,
After expenses.
and then, but the balance sheet is where people get a little tripped up. And it's really just how much cash you have on hand and how much, liabilities you have and money that's, owed. But you want to understand those as you grow in your business, and you want to be looking at them monthly to know what's going on. And it's sometimes you can see like, wow, we're losing money on this. It shows up in
And
the
see
financials.
where you can actually minimize some of the expenses and stuff. So what else are you going to show us? Thank you for sharing.
We've got some cool meeting spaces here. We've got some Zoom rooms set up for the team, so if they want to have a private Zoom call, with the customer, they can do that, which is really cool. We're very big with like open collaborative spaces. We have these glass whiteboards everywhere. We're constantly
Ideas,
growing.
Brainstorming.
Brainstorming. We're always looking to improve the process to make it better for our customers. We've developed so much tech, and we've really put so much work into streamlining the process. When I first got started back in 2007, I was using a fax machine, still like, so to think about like 15 years, what's changed with the technology. Like APIs weren't even like really known about back then or even being used.
And you guys are one of the very few in the lending industry who's adapted and
we started building tech years and years ago where, people didn't even understand what it is that we were actually doing. Yeah.
And that's why you're leading in the industry now.
Yes, it's so true. This is our training room, so everyone that starts here, all of our business financing advisors go through a 90-day paid training program. Josh is our success coach, and he works with everybody. And we do in classroom and also out, on the floor, training, and really work through with everybody. You can imagine we've got 75 lenders, all these different financing products, different guidelines. It's a lot of information. Even if you came from like the commercial lending world, you might have only worked at one lender. Well, we've got 75, right? So we do a lot of training around all the products and programs. But more importantly, we talk about business. And understand, we work with so many industries. We work with almost like every industry that's out there. So we talk about, different things, industry specific. So we're on the phone with customers. We want to, make sure that we understand their industry, understand their business, and what they're, looking to use money for. Like the more we understand about their business, the more we can make sense about financing.
And I really love this educational component you provide to your team, because, I personally have encountered so many brokers or lenders who, sadly, I know more than they do about a product, and that's really not a good reflection on your business. So the fact that you're prioritizing not just the educational part, but also their success with a success coach, that definitely speaks a lot about the brand of National Business Capital.
Yeah, 100%. No, thank you. And Josh, works with the new hires, but also works with existing employees, because things are constantly changing.
Yes.
So as lenders make updates, and sometimes that happens overnight. Sometimes we find out about them before people that work at the lenders do.
Wow.
Because they're like, hey, what's going on? You guys aren't approving this, or what happened here? And as those things change, we go and communicate that with our team, so we know what's going on. And that's like happening almost daily with different changes. We have a meeting every single Wednesday evening that we go over any updates, changes, and keeping everybody in the know. And there's also like a whole system that we use to keep track of all the changes, so we can review what's going on with each lender.
Sounds great stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, love the kitchen.
Yeah, it was really important with this, office when we built it out that we made it very homey. We wanted you to feel like you're at home, and we're big we supply like fresh fruit. We have a cool water machine that has flavored water.
Oh, nice.
And then we've got a cabinet full of snacks, some healthy and some not so healthy.
Making sure you keep everybody happy.
We try and serve everyone's needs.
Yeah, preferences.
But yeah, so good stuff. And this is our it's a cool wall. It's our reviews and also some really cool quotes. But these are like actual reviews from customers, team photos. We're very big with culture. We've been #1 top workplace on Long Island 4 years in a row, which is really cool. And we also have a culture team. I don't know if you knew that. But
Claire mentioned that briefly, but why don't you share with everybody?
Yeah, so there's about 8 people on that team. Josh, who you just saw before, he's our culture leader. We have like 4 staple events throughout the year, and then different things that happen throughout the year, and it's all around like health, being better, growing, and so there's some personal stuff in there and some business stuff. So all different things that we do, team building stuff, and just a number of things. But culture is super important with us and the people that work here. It's really important that we're positive.
Yeah.
We have everyone here has like a growth mindset.
The news are.
Yeah, we don't keep that stuff out of here. Yeah, yeah. We're all about being positive, growing, being better, and. I think the better the culture is, the better you create that inside your company. Definitely. It's better for everybody here, but also it's better for your customers because they're working with, people that are happy and care about what they're doing.
Yeah, it's great that you're actually prioritizing health, whether it's physical or mental, because the team makes up the business, and if a member of your team is not happy, chances are it could trickle down with everyone around them, and next thing you know, so it all starts with you, in this case with each and every member of your team, and then if they're happy, then everybody else is happy. Yeah. So what's this you have over here?
So this is our success gong. When we get a client funded a deal of a certain size or higher, you get to ring the gong. So we like to hear the gong go off because it means we got someone funded, and people love ringing the gong because it means they got a client funded and it was a larger transaction. So
awesome.
It's always a good time. Let's see, can we get someone to ring the gong? Ricky, you want to ring the gong for us? I'm sure you have a deal funding today. So. This is a pre-ring.
Yes. All right, so we gotta warm it up first.
Nice, good stuff. Awesome. Actually, why don't I do a nice treat for you guys? I'm trying to think. Why don't you come over here? Hey guys, we have NOVARISE here. Let's give them a nice National Business Capital warm welcome on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Grow, grow, grow.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Great, we'll go this way.
Oh, this is a really, really nice setting over here. What's that? Oh, look at that belt.
Yeah, so this is our employee lounge and like collaborative meeting space. We call it the Idea Lab. That is our belt. The top #1 folks each month get a picture with the belt, which is pretty cool. It's a tradition we've been doing for a long time now. And then we also have, what's really cool is our Grow and Tell. This is our quarterly magazine, which has like all really great stuff. There's a message for me in there each quarter of like what's going on with the business, what's happening. And then people who have like traveled to places throughout the quarter, any like life events that are happening. So in this one, Ashley had a kid in this one, and Stephanie.
Very family oriented.
Nick got the yellow belt, and so just all cool things that are happening. We did the 5-borough bike tour, which was really cool in the city, and just like some who's who at National. So just kind of talks about the team and like different people, things, hobbies, different things that they're into. So you get like a little like snapshot of everybody.
Magazine.
Yeah, it's really cool. Your favorite quotes, people who got wow cards. When you're doing good, go above and beyond. We give out wow cards to people here, which are really cool. And then Brad was featured in this, so there was an interview with Brad that we put in here, which was really cool. Talks about our events that are have happened or that are happening, and then like 5-star reviews from customers, which is really cool. And just a bunch of like really, just great fun things. We put baby pictures in there. You can guess who's who, and then people upload their playlists and stuff like that. So just like some really cool, fun stuff, movie suggestions, and then some people's favorite recipes.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of really good stuff in here. I love reading these.
Yeah, and it helps you get to know the team better because sometimes it's difficult speaking one-on-one with everybody. So
Yeah,
it gives
exactly
you
right.
kind of like-
So everyone gets to like know each other. It's all, again, part of the culture.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Part
It's
of the
amazing.
culture team.
Yes.
They came out with these ideas.
Yep, they came out with the idea, and then everyone on the culture team takes a little bit of a point on a page or something, in there. It helps with the content, piece. This is our boardroom. And then this is really cool. Excited for you guys to see this.
Oh, wow.
So obviously the theme here is grow. I think we
Yeah.
made that point across as you're walking through the office. And if you notice, like in the privacy screens, these are tree rings. And this is our tree ring wall. We came up with this concept because tree rings symbolize growth. So this is our timeline wall. So it's our tree ring. And each ring symbolize milestones in the growth of the company, starting back in '07 when I started the business out of my spare bedroom.
And these years are particularly special given our financial history, right? So
Oh, yeah.
You're one of the very few businesses who started around that tough time, but yet look at where you are now.
Yeah, fought through '08, '09. That financial crisis was really wild. I think this one says '09. The markets crashed. I was scared, but I fought through it like
Yeah.
a warrior. It was a wild time, and then to see like all the different milestones, it's really cool. You read these and you really get like a real feel for like the stages of growth. It's really cool. I'm super proud of this wall, and so is the team. And it's definitely one of the most special walls in here.
I mean, if you make it past 2007, 9, I mean, everything else
And
is
COVID.
just a piece of, and COVID too, right? Like, forget about that.
Sprinkle that in there. Yeah. I think you get through that at this point. I'm like, all right, I can probably get through anything.
Yeah, I
right?
guess if
So-
there's no crisis, it will be too boring, right?
Yeah, exactly. It can't all just be great. You need the bad times to enjoy the good times.
Wow, Joe, so this was amazing, a great tour, definitely a lot of great history behind your vision. And we want to thank you so much for inviting us to your office and for providing such an amazing service for everyone who's in need of financing out there.
Yeah, thank you so much, for coming in. It was great to see you again. And, I hope everyone watching, appreciated all said, got to learn a little bit and a little bit more understanding about what we do. We make it seem so simple and easy, but there's a lot of things that are happening in the back end. And there's been a lot of stuff that's happened over the years and built to make the process, easy and fast, for you. And our mission is, helping other business owners grow to greatness. So we're excited to help you grow to greatness. If you have any questions, please reach out to my team. We're always happy to help answer any questions and talk you through whatever it is you're looking to get accomplished in your business.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. So make sure you check out the link right here on the screen, also down in the description box below, to get in touch with National Business Capital, and Joe and his team will be right there ready for you.
Keep growing.